The Galactic Assembly intercepts a signal traced to a forgotten region of old Earth space. The signal references something they erased from history, the Guardian Protocol. They laugh at first. Then, it responds, "We scrubbed those myths." Hissed Counselor Thulex. "There is no Guardian of Earth. There never was." "But the transmission's clear," said the analyst, claws twitching. "It's routed through a black sector relay last mapped 3,000 years ago. Human origin." Thulex leaned closer. The message played again, raw, distorted, but unmistakably Terran in cadence. Guardian 1 online. Containment failed. Standing. By for authorization. A chuckle ran through the chamber. That sounds like a broken protocol from an extinct race. "They're extinct," said another counselor. "Their ghosts are just catching up." The chamber AI pulsed. New signal. Same source. It's changing tone. What now? The message repeated, but now it was. "Awake. Guardian 1 online. Authorization no longer required." AVD spike. The laughter stopped. Counselor Reland stood slowly. "Find the origin, immediately. I want eyes on that system." The screen changed. A red star. 2 shattered. Moons. And in the void between them, a construct. Massive. Human architecture. UNMOVING. One word etched across its surface in hull black and white. Guardian. Impossible. Someone whispered. The Guardian program was theoretical. A deterrent they never completed. Then why is it online? AVD spike. A second feed lit up. Footage, decades old. Classified. Human? Engineers arguing in an underground bunker. One phrase subtitled beneath the recording. "If we lose Earth, we don't lose memory. We give it teeth." Reland turned pale. "That thing isn't a ship. It's not AI either." "No," Thulex muttered. "It's both." Another voice from the shadows spoke up, old, dry, resigned. "It's the part of them that never learned how to forgive." AVD spike. Council alarms flared. The Guardian systems were activating .no crew, .no uplink, .no reason, .just motion. And then a message, not to the Council, to everyone, all species. All QUADRANTS. No encryption, no introduction. Just one line. "If you've rewritten history, I am what you forgot to erase." The chamber dropped to silence. Then the chamber AI cracked and played a final warning last recorded before. Earth's fall. The voice was human, clear, heavy. "This is Guardian Protocol 01. If I awaken, it means peace failed." And that was before Earth even responded. The lights flickered in Chamber 01. But not because of malfunction. It was recognition. After 6,011 years of silence, the primary interface had one task: determine consciousness within the Guardian shell. No alarms. No countdown. Just this. Vital sign detected. Initiating soul stitch. The Guardian had a BU OKEN. And with it, he did a VD spike. His name wasn't known to the stars anymore. No tomb bore his name. No library remembered him. He had been erased by war, rewritten by victors. But the machine knew. So did Earth. His name was Marshall Eon Wraith, the first and last human to volunteer for the Guardian Protocol. A single body, merged with forgotten technology. Frozen not in time, but in purpose. Stasis pod split open. Mist hissed upward like breath escaping a tomb. And Eon Wraith opened his eyes. No fear. No confusion. Just this. They called me a monster, but monsters don't guard graves. AVD spike. The ship spoke, low, elegant, unwavering. Command. Authority restored. Guardian 1 online. Protocol judgment pending. Wraith moved slowly, Stretching muscle grown slow under artificial lock. Who broke the seal? Unknown. Saldari signal? Passive scan. Unauthorized. He grinned faintly. Of course it was a scan. Curiosity always was more dangerous than war. He stood, walked barefoot through the stasis wing. Everything still worked. The Guardian didn't need repairs. It had waited perfectly. Avid spike. Across the galaxy, Council fleets mobilized. Ships turned toward the dead star where Guardian 1 loomed. Not to engage. To understand. And to plan, because no one had ever faced something Earth had built just in case they lost. The last human deterrent. Built. In secret. Powered by memory. Piloted by grief. Avid spike. On the Council's core world, Thulex paced before a war map. There is no organic signal inside the Guardian. He growled. We scanned it for decades. And yet someone speaks from it now, Reland said. Impossible. No, came a voice from the doorway. Just human. It was Kavith, oldest among them. The one who'd fought Earth's last fleet. The only one to survive a planetary detonation and return with both eyes still haunted. You don't understand what they built, Kavith said, because you never understood why they built it. Thulex scoffed. Enlighten us. Kavith stepped into the light. They weren't planning to win. They were planning to outlive the lie that they lost. AVD spike. Back on the Guardian. Eon Wraith stood before a memory core. It looked like a globe, ancient, cracked, spinning slowly, but inside? Every moment. Every betrayal. Every world Earth bled for while the galaxy watched. Show me the archives, he said. The lights dimmed. Screens unfolded. Genocides. Blockades. Diplomatic erasures. Twisted versions of Earth's fall. Children branded as terrorists. Colonies starved. Victories rewritten as failures. Silence painted as surrender. Watched in silence, then said softly, they didn't destroy us. They just taught themselves not to feel bad about it. Avid spike. He entered the bridge. It wasn't grand. Just one chair, one viewing window, and one console. Black. Glassy, unbreakable. Judgment system. A button, a dial. And a timer. The Guardian had waited millennia not to strike, but to see who would dare pretend Earth never existed. Now it had seen enough. He sat. And the ship whispered. 108 confirmed empires used our silence as camouflage. 14 weaponized it. 3 taught it as myth. Wraith closed his eyes. Play them the memory. Avd spike. The stars lit up. Not from fire. From broadcast. Old Earth videos. Footage never seen outside Seoul. A father crying in front of a crater. A girl screaming while ships bombed a garden. Troops hugging each other before vaporization. Truth. No warning. No commentary. Just truth. And then, beneath every clip, we were quiet, so you could forget. Now we are not. Entire civilizations froze. All broadcast networks overloaded. Not by code. By grief. Avid spike. Commander. Thulex demanded the feeds be severed. They couldn't. Even unconnected systems felt the pulse, because the Guardian wasn't hacking. It was resonating. Its emotion wasn't encrypted. It was raw. And the stars remembered it. Avid spike. Back on the bridge, Eon Wraith stood, palms over the console. He wasn't angry. He was fulfilled. The worst part wasn't the loss, he whispered. It was knowing they buried our ghosts in shallow lies. The Thungi ship asked, Judgment? Enabled? He hesitated. Then said, No. Nora-like voice responded, Clarify. Let them writhe, not die, not burn, not kneel. Let them explain to their children what they did. Aft spike. Every galactic system now pulsed with one final phrase. You feared our war. You never prepared for our memory, and with that, The Guardian went dark again. Not dead. Just done. And yet, across the stars, the silence screamed louder than any fleet ever had, because now they knew Earth didn't build a weapon. Earth built a witness, and he had finally opened his eyes. Everything inside is still, too still, until it speaks. Via Jingpil it speaks. Dropship cut through the black like a blade through burial silk. Elite recon squad Obsidian unit rode silent in the hold. Exosuits humming low, sealed in neural dampers to suppress panic spikes. Every one of them was a specialist. Everyone had boarded derelict warships before, but none had boarded a Guardian. And especially not this Guardian. Not after what it just did. Signal still dark, said the pilot. No defenses active. Not even passive scans. Could be bait, muttered Lieutenant Korik, Obsidian's field lead. Keep phase armor primed. The pilot didn't respond, but his hands trembled. Aft spike. As they approached, the Guardian's hull came into view, obsidian curves, ancient plating, patched over centuries by nothing but silence. No markings. No lights. Just one word, freshly carved into the outer hull. Judge. That wasn't there before. Aft spike. The docking clamps engaged. The airlock slid open. Stillness poured out. Not cold. Stillness. Like the ship had exhaled once long ago and never took another breath. Obsidian stepped inside. The first thing they noticed? There was no dust. No decay. But something worse. The smell of remembered air, like every molecule, was holding the weight of grief that hadn't been vented yet. Avid spike. Report, Korik said, voice sharp over the link. Atmosphere. Stable. Gravity steady. Energy readings inconsistent. Inconsistent? Like it's asleep, but listening. The deeper they moved, the stranger it got. Walls whispered. Not in sound, but in rhythm. A distant pulse, slow, patient, terrifying. Like a heart that wasn't beating for life anymore. It beat for witness. A VD spike. They reached a chamber. The lights flickered on only when they stepped through. The threshold. Not motion sensors. Recognition. Inside. A table. 6 chairs. Empty. But in the center, a holosphere lit up. No commands given. No voice triggered it. It simply played. A face. Human. Old. Weathered. Kind-eyed. But not soft. Eon Wraith. His voice wasn't threatening. It was worse. Calm. Double quotes if you found this. It means I didn't have to fire. That means you're smart. Or terrified. Or both. Either way, listen. The team froze. Not by order. By instinct. AVD spike. We built this ship not to strike first. Not even to strike last. We built it to stay behind. To stay awake. Because every species rewrites history eventually. We just made sure ours didn't fade when yours got comfortable. The feed cut. No loops. No replay. Just truth. And then, beneath the holosphere, a single inscription appeared. Memory is not mercy. Judgment is not revenge. It's just the part you skipped. Avid spike. Korik took a slow breath. Keep moving. They entered the next chamber. Different now. Whiter. Darker. Walls. Covered in inscriptions. Not names. Questions. Etched in a dozen galactic dialects. Where were you when Earth called for help? Why did you silence the archives? What did you teach your children about us? No answers, just echoes. Ral, the team linguist, whispered, "This isn't vengeance." What is it then? It's consequence. AVD spike, their final destination. The bridge. The door opened before they reached it. Inside. The chair. Empty. No crew. No AI. Avatar. Just a room with one console glowing softly and a pulse so heavy it made their stomachs turn. Not from pressure. From meaning. The console flared once and played a single clip. Not a message. A memory. a child on a destroyed colony world. Holding a toy, dirt-streaked, starving. She looked up at the camera and said, "Tell them we didn't scream. Tell them we waited." AVD spike. The clip ended. Korik stepped forward. His visor blinked with a single word, "Judged." He turned to leave, but then the ship spoke, not in words, in understanding. Korik staggered. What was that?" "Sir," Ral gasped. It spoke directly into the empathy core. Impossible. "Then why are you shaking?" Avd spike. They left the bridge in silence, and as they walked back, one by one, the ship showed them rooms tailored to them, private regrets, moments they didn't know it knew. One saw a classroom, the first time she joked that Earth deserved it. Another saw a conference table, the military plan to weaponize post-Earth silence. A third saw nothing, just a mirror, and in it, their own face asking, "What would you have done if it were your species?" Avd spike. They left the Guardian. No traps. No alarms. No violence. But no one spoke on the flight back. Not even Korik. His last glance at the hull as they disengaged. A new word appeared, carved silently beneath "Judge." Still. AVD spike. In council chambers days later, Korik stood before the assembly. "Is it hostile?" Someone asked. "No," he said quietly. "It's worse." "How?" Korik met their gaze. "It's right. And that." Was before the Guardian even moved. They gathered in darkness. Now not for strategy but for damage control. The Council of 12, once the loudest chorus in the galaxy, sat in a sealed room with comms blocked, envirofeeds off, and AI observers disconnected, because even their machines were beginning to whisper about the Guardian. "We've lost 5 more systems to blackout," said Relan, voice tight. "No invasion, no contact, just silence, like they erased themselves." "There." "Ashamed," said Vaxanor. "Shame is contagious." The Guardian didn't spread fear. It spread clarity. Thulek slammed a palm on the table. "It's a machine. One man and a myth. We can detonate it." Reland stared at him. "You saw the scan logs. The war wasn't the worst part." Avd spike. "It was us." A technician entered with a data slate, shaking slightly. "Counselors, you should see this." He placed the slate on the table. The feed displayed a planetary university on the outskirts of the Trellin system. Their students had rewritten their galactic history curriculum. Removed all records of Earth aggression. Replaced with one heading, "The War of Silence, How We Let Humanity Fall." "They're turning Earth into martyrs," hissed Thulux. "No," said Enor. "They're turning us into villains." AVDSPIK, someone spoke from the corner. Voice. Unelected. Uninvited. It was Kaveth, the elder who once survived Earth's retaliation. He stepped into the light slowly. "You thought you buried them with tactics. But you buried yourself with memory. We offered peace." Thulek snapped. "You offered them a grave," Kaveth said. "Then you painted over it." Relan sat forward. "So what now?" Kaveth looked at her. "I don't know what the Guardian is going to do next. But I know what we're going to do." The room waited. "We're going to lie." AVD spike. Hours later, a statement was released. Galaxy-wide.official.elegant.empty. Guardian to 1 has been deactivated following standard containment. Its broadcasts were unauthorized and emotionally manipulative. No confirmed threat exists. Return to routine protocol. They hoped it would work. It DIDN T. Within hours, 30 species called the statement psychological suppression. And hundreds of independent systems began broadcasting Guardian 1 footage to their citizens. Raw and unedited. Not as warning. As truth. Avd spike. Back on the Guardian. Wraith watched the transmission with quiet detachment. Nora flickered alive beside him. They're trying to spin it, expected. They're saying your memories are lies. He didn't look away from the feed. I never wanted them to believe me. Then what did you want? Wraith's voice was soft. I wanted them to hear the child. Avd Spik. One clip played on loop now across the galaxy. The girl. The toy. Her voice. Tell them we didn't scream. Tell them we waited. It was more effective than any weapon Earth had ever built, because for the first time, it made the stars feel guilty. A VD Spike, in a hidden sector, a single Thren battleship broke ranks. Its captain broadcast a message. To the Guardian, we remember now, we will not forget again. If your silence continues, we will carry it. Nora turned to Wraith. They want peace now. They don't want peace, he said. They want closure. And if they ask for forgiveness? Wraith finally looked away from the stars. That's not mine to give. AVD Spike. The Guardian did not move, but every system around it now displayed a phrase no one could trace. The stars turned away once. They will not do it twice. And the Council? They stopped meeting in darkness. Not because the danger was over, because the line no longer worked. And that was before Earth even responded. The Guardian never moved again. Not in orbit. Not in speech. Not in aggression. But its silence had changed. Before, it was forgotten. Now, it was witnessed. Across the galaxy, a strange phenomenon unfolded. Not attacks. Not invasions. Confessions. A merchant guild on Orvex Prime issued reparations to the descendants of Earth colonists they'd exploited. A former warlord declassified documents showing how the Alliance let Earth bleed. Entire governments resigned. Not by force. By shame. A VD Spike, in a small outpost light years from the Guardian, a child looked up at a screen. Her class had just watched one of the Guardian's transmissions. She raised her hand. Why did we lie about Earth? Her teacher, once a proud council historian, had no answer. Only tears. A VD Spike inside the Guardian. Eon Wraith stood alone on the observation deck. He had not aged. He would not age. He was never meant to live again, only to remember. Nora spoke. Quietly. They're changing. They're afraid, Wraith corrected. That's change. He nodded slowly. Maybe. Avd Spike. But across the deep, something stirred. In the silence, a new signal began to pulse. Faint, distant, familiar. Another Guardian protocol core, once believed destroyed, was coming online. Not near Sol. Not even in Terran space. Far beyond it. Another voice. Another memory. Another witness. And in that moment, Wraith smiled. Not in triumph, but in relief. They were never meant to listen to me, he whispered. Nora flickered. Then who? He turned back to the stars. Themselves. Avd Spike. The galaxy never recovered from the Guardian, because it didn't break them. It held a mirror, and for the first time in history, they didn't look away, and that was, before Earth ever said a word, the end of this memory. But not the silence.